Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to talk to you guys about something a little bit different. I want to talk to you guys about my gut healing journey. This is something that was a part of my life for almost 5 years, and it really affected me. It affected the quality of my life. It affected my mood, my happiness. It affected me physically, emotionally, just everything. And it felt like my world just revolved around my gut.
It was crazy.
Honestly, it was just like, it was crazy. And if you're somebody that's going through this, I just want you to know that you're not alone. There are a lot of people that are suffering with these issues. I'm seeing so many people come out about this and talk about this, and it's becoming a real common topic. So just know that you're not alone and that you will be able to heal your gut. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my story. What are some signs and symptoms that presented themselves leading up to me having gut issues, exactly what I was diagnosed with, and how I was able to heal my gut, which took about a year, and it's still an ongoing process, but it took me about a year to heal my gut. So you can too, so don't worry honey, I got you covered and we're gonna get you all fixed up. I want to start off first with baby Ashley. Back in 2016, 2017, I was about 22 years old, and that's when my true fitness journey began, that I was actually consistent with going to the gym. I was still eating whatever I wanted, but I was trying to slightly make healthier decisions with food. So I started maybe making smoothies, making acai bowls, eating some oatmeal. Now fast forward to me when I was 24 years old, I became very serious with my fitness journey. So this is the point in my life where I actually got a new job, and it was a job that required a lot of my time. So I was working all the time, and I was under a lot of stress. And on top of that, since I took my fitness journey very seriously now, I started to track my calories. And once I started to track my calories, I realized I had to start eating a little bit less. And because of the fact that I was working so much at my job, I relied heavily on protein shakes and protein bars. So I would have a protein shake right before work. And then if I was able to get a little bit of a break, I was able to buy a protein bar, maybe two, and eat them as my lunch. I'd be hungry and one protein bar was just not gonna cut it. And this became a part of my everyday diet. So protein shakes and protein bars for the next few years, actually. Fast forward a year later, me being 25, I was even more stressed because I was working my stressful job and I decided to go back to school. So I was having
A lot of caffeine.
I was drinking sugar-free Monster energy drinks. I was drinking a lot of coladas, which is like a Cuban coffee, a little Cuban coffee shot, which will get you, that little thing will get you real cracked out, okay? So I was having mad caffeine every single day to be able to study, to be able to work long hours. I mean, I was just a mess in that department, in the stress department. I was still tracking my calories. I was still relatively eating a little bit. I wasn't eating full meals. I actually started to feel a little bit lean, which I was happy with. I was starting to see some serious progress in my body, how it looked like. But that being said, other things started happening to me that did not happen before. So for example, I started having really bad breakouts, pretty bad acne at this time. I was also constantly sick all the time. I would get sick like 5 times a year. And at this point, I also started having digestive issues. I started noticing that it was very difficult for me to go use the restroom, to go do number 2 on a daily basis. I was like struggling, and I didn't really understand why. It was a fairly new thing for me, but I didn't think too much of it. It didn't bother me that much. I just thought, hey, look, you know, today I couldn't go to the bathroom, but whatever, I'll be able to go tomorrow. And I didn't think too much of it. Then 2020 happened and the gyms shut down. So what this led me to start doing was a lot of at-home workouts. In doing that, it led me to doing a lot of HIIT workouts, a lot of cardio. I started doing HIIT workouts almost daily. I started jogging almost every morning. So my cardio increased significantly throughout this time. And I liked it because I started looking a little bit leaner. I started noticing a little bit more definition. I started to look a little bit more toned. And I also went from weighing about 130 pounds to now 115 pounds. Once the gyms opened back up, I continued to do my weight training, but along with that weight training, I continued to do the high intensity cardio. So because of the results that I was seeing with my training of how lean I was looking, I also decided to cut my calories down even further during this time. Since calories became so important to me because I wanted to get to a very lean physique, I started incorporating foods in my diet that
were not the best for me.
I started incorporating a lot of foods that were sugar-free because they were lower in calories. So I started incorporating sugar-free creamers in my coffee. I started doing sugar-free maple syrups. I also started incorporating a lot of artificial sweeteners. So I used a lot of Truvia, a lot of stevia. And since I also wanted to maintain that lean physique, fat is always considered as something bad. So I wanted to keep my fats low. And in doing that, I significantly reduced the fat I was consuming. So I wasn't cooking my food with oil. If anything, I used a little bit of the spray, but I wasn't using actual olive oil or avocado oil. I also was eating very lean meats. So I would only eat chicken or like 99% lean turkey, which was super dry. I would never eat any meat. I would never eat beef because it was too fatty for me. And every time I would eat it, I would feel kind of bad after, and I felt like it would sit a little bit too heavy in my stomach. So I never liked to eat any type of beef. So based off what you're seeing in the pictures, this would probably look like an individual that has a healthy lifestyle, but on the inside, I was not starting to feel good. This is when my digestion started to really plummet and go down the drain. Basically, not going to the bathroom became a new normal for me. I was not able to go for maybe 2-3 days at a time. And when you're somebody that exercises that much and is eating very little, and you know that you're supposed to look lean, when you're unable to get rid of some of that waste, it really can affect how you look physically. Honestly, thank God for my sister because she had to hear all this poop conversation from me on a daily basis. Like, I would send her messages all the time that I wasn't able to go, and when I would finally be able to, I would be like, oh my God, thank the Lord Jesus, you know? It was a real struggle for me, and it started to really affect me mentally. Like, it would affect how my day would turn out. If I would be able to go that day, I would be very happy. If I was not able to go, I would feel very sad, very depressed, angry, but I kind of just accepted it and moved on. My acne was full-blown terrible. I tried everything. I tried so many new products. I tried going to a facialist to help me with my acne, and it was not having it. There was like not much that I was able to do to fix my acne, and I really didn't understand where all this acne was coming from because I never used to have breakouts when I was younger, and then all of a sudden I'm in my mid-20s and I'm having full-blown adult acne. I was like, what? This is kind of weird. Where did this come from? I also had people in my life that didn't make me feel very good. So specifically, there's one person in mind. How can I go about this? This person always made me feel like I was never skinny enough. And based off the pictures that I'm showing you guys, I felt like I looked pretty lean. This person would tell me that I needed to get liposuction done. Imagine what this does to you, okay? And you're already in a lean state. You're already starting to have a little bit of mental issues because you can't go to the bathroom and you feel a little bit bloated. You know, having somebody that's supposed to be supportive in your life and then just having them tell you that you need to get liposuction done. It's like, all right, honey, I got something for you. I swear to God, if you're somebody like that, you better change that attitude. Don't do that to someone. And it wasn't even just that. There were moments that I was never skinny enough, and there were moments where this person would tell me that I was never thick enough. And I was working my butt off, trying to do weights, trying to grow. And in doing that, I also started to wear waist trainers. I was like, okay, like I have to have a super tiny waist. You know, I need to cut my calories even more. So it was a real mental battle up there for me. I became obsessed with wanting to be lean, but also wanting to grow and build muscle. Since I was never skinny enough or I was never thick enough, I was like, I can have the best of both worlds. I can be skinny and I can be thick at the same time. I decreased my calories even further. And just to give you an example as to what I was eating on a daily basis, I would have for breakfast a 4th cup of oatmeal with water. Maybe I would put a few little strawberries on top and I would drench it in the sugar-free maple syrup. And then for lunch, I would maybe have some kind of a protein yogurt with a little bit of granola on top. And for dinner, it was always a salad. A salad with some type of lean protein on top. So whether it was chicken, ground turkey, maybe a lean fish or something, but it was always a salad. I knew I was eating pretty little, so I knew it was really important to get in a lot of protein because I knew I wanted to build muscle as well. So I was putting protein in everything. I was putting protein powder in my oatmeal. I was eating protein yogurts. I would buy protein bars to get in some extra protein. I would drink protein shakes because I had to get in as much protein I could with as few calories as I could. I was buying all those supplements and eating them, and the only real protein I was eating was maybe a little bit at dinner time with my salad. Everything else was the heavily processed protein health foods. And I was using, like I said, like the sugar-free creamers in my coffee, which it got to a point that I wanted to stop using a sugar-free creamer in my coffee because I felt like it was just adding too many calories to my diet, which is crazy. That, you know, like where my mindset was like, oh, you know, I can't use
2 tablespoons of creamer because this is too many calories and I'm getting fat.
Not good. That's not a good state of mind to be in. I started to notice that I couldn't tolerate certain foods the same anymore, that they would make my stomach hurt a lot and they would make me feel bad. They would make me feel really bloated, and it's something that never used to happen to me before. So some of these foods that would make me feel this way were avocados, dairy, sweet potatoes, peanut butter, eggs, chocolate, which that made me real sad. Even just going out to eat with friends and family was always a struggle because I always felt god awful every time I would go out to eat. I got used to the feeling of constantly feeling bloated and uncomfortable after every single meal. And this led me to becoming very, 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 very restrictive with what it is that I was eating. You would look at this photo and you would not think that I was suffering from huge digestive issues or bloating issues, because who the heck wants to take a picture when they look super bloated and uncomfortable and feel like trash? Because that's what I was feeling like at this point in time. So this is the point in my life that I was training super hard. Not only was I still doing high amounts of cardio, I was doing cardio about 6 times a week. I would do every morning either jog or I would meet up with a friend and do some conditioning training at a park every morning about 6 times a week. On top of that, I was lifting super heavy weights at the gym. I was able to start squatting 135 pounds and I built my way up all the way to 205 pounds, which was my max. And I was super proud of that, super happy. But again, that also started to take a toll on my body. I was just not letting my body recover. I took no breaks. And then with that, I also started to notice that after doing this heavy exercise, my body on the inside, when I would get back home, started to feel very inflamed. And I don't know exactly how to describe it to you guys, but the best way I can put it is that the area of my uterus and my intestine, like around my pelvis area and my hip area, felt like it was on fire. I knew something was off there, but I didn't pay too much attention to it because I was like, well, I'm training super hard. And when you work out this hard, you know, your muscles, they do get inflamed, but your uterus isn't supposed to be getting inflamed, or your intestinal area. You're not building any muscle there. Also, throughout this time, I lost my period, which it is a very common thing for women to lose their period if they're training very hard. This happened to my mom. My mom was a ballet dancer, and she also told me that for a period of time, she lost her period. So when I lost mine, she told me I was exercising too much. And I was like, what? Mom, what are, I got upset with her. I told her, what are you talking about? I don't even have six-pack abs. How am I training hard enough? I was definitely overtraining. So because of me losing my period, that led me to feeling even worse. Some women experience feeling really moody and really, they get cravings and stuff like that, like right before they get their period. Well, girl, this was me, like for weeks on end, because my period would just never come. So I was super moody all the time. I was bloated all the time. And I would feel like I was on my period, but it would never come. So I was super frustrated and upset and stressed. So it was a bad time. It was a really, really freaking bad time. And now basically my last year, I was again training very, very hard, but my body started to plateau. So basically I came to the realization that I was eating too little. And even though I was lifting very heavy, I was not gonna be able to continue to build muscle if I didn't eat more. So I knew I had to increase my calories. I did this phase for about 5 months, and I was kind of scared because I knew I had certain food sensitivities, and because I knew I had to eat more, I started to try different diets. Like I tried an elimination diet, so which I was already doing. I was just not eating the foods that I knew would make me feel bad. And then I came across the low FODMAP diet. So I was only eating foods that were low FODMAP, which are foods that are easy to digest. There were certain fruits I couldn't eat, certain vegetables I couldn't eat, carbs that I couldn't eat. It was terrible. So my diet was very restrictive. An example, I would eat again a little bit of oatmeal, and then my lunch and my dinner would always be the same thing. It would be chicken with white rice and 1 egg, and that was it. And I was eating that every single day for almost 5 months. And when you get to a point that you feel so afraid to eat food and you're that restricted, it really takes a toll on you mentally, because you literally feel like you can't go out to eat. You can't hang out with friends to go and grab something to eat or eat something at their house. And I'm gonna put this picture up, which is about a week before I met my current boyfriend. So he invited me over to his house and he made me breakfast. And I just remember sitting there looking at my plate and just being mortified because I knew that I could not eat that food. Matter of fact, that's why I took a picture of that, because I knew that like this was just not healthy for me. I was like, how can I be sitting here with, the person that I'm dating and I cannot eat the food that he just made me? I ate it, but I knew that I was gonna blow up like a balloon and look like I was pregnant. I was gonna get super bloated and it was gonna make me feel sick. A freaking avocado and a piece of bread with some ham inside. So that was like a very pivotal moment for me. I was like, okay, there's something wrong here. Like I cannot be living my life like this, only being able to eat chicken and rice. I'm also gonna put another picture up here. This was me with a friend of mine that we went to go grab an acai bowl. I also knew that I couldn't eat acai bowls because the fruit would make me feel bloated and make me look like I was pregnant again. So it really affected me wanting to be social with my friends because I feel like I couldn't go out with them to grab something to eat. Something as healthy as an acai bowl. How can my body be rejecting fruit, I was like, this never used to happen to me before. At this point in my life, this was like the ultimate shift for me, basically. Halfway through 28 years old, all of a sudden things came crashing down. Like everything just crashed and burned. So it got to a point where anything I would put in my mouth would make me bloated. Chicken made me bloated, rice made me bloated, everything. I felt like I couldn't eat anything. And can you imagine how frustrating that is? I was just I didn't even know what to do anymore. I was so confused. I was so sad, so upset. Like, why was my body doing this to me? It also got to the point that in the gym, I wasn't seeing those strength gains anymore. I went from 205 pounds to not even being able to lift a 45-pound dumbbell. And I was like, what's happening? What's happening to my body? I couldn't understand. I thought that I was doing everything right. I thought I was training like an athlete, like a pro. I thought I was eating the best diet ever, and my body just couldn't handle it. So it was at this point that I was like, okay, I need to seek a professional because I need help. I've done all the research that I could, and everything I was trying with my low FODMAP diets, with trying to eat fermented foods, trying to include more fiber in my diet, eliminating foods that I can't tolerate, I couldn't do it anymore because nothing was working anymore. So this is the point in my life where I decided to go and see a functional medicine practitioner. And thank Lord Jesus for that, because I don't know where I would be today if I hadn't made that decision. And now we can get into the part of my healing journey, which I want to make very clear to you guys that my gut healing journey has taken me about a year. And once again, this is still an ongoing process, but I am 99% better. So I went to my visit, I went to go speak to him, and he had such a wonderful approach. He basically asked me about my whole life history. So I told him everything I had been doing, and he had asked me what it was that I was eating at the current moment, and I had told him what I was eating in my diet and how I had been eating over the past few years. So basically, once I told him everything, he had two main concerns. He wanted me to be able to go to the bathroom daily. He told me if you're not going to the bathroom daily, that is a huge problem. You need to be going every single day. So that is priority number one. So now you know, if you're not going to the bathroom every day, there's a big problem there. That was number one. And number two, based off everything that I told him, he predicted that I had some sort of a gut infection. Which one, he didn't know, because there were certain tests that he needed to perform, like certain blood tests. But first, he needed to resolve the gut motility issue. So he needed me going to the bathroom every single day. And this is what he put me on. He made me drink a warm glass of water every single morning, and in that warm glass of water I would have to either put a spoon of coconut oil or MCT oil. He also had me drink bone broth with at least one meal per day, and he also needed me to eat more healthy fats in my diet. I had told him what I was eating, and I was barely eating any fat, healthy fats, so he needed me to significantly increase that. And to do that, he had me do a paleo low FODMAP diet. I basically had to be on a diet for about 6 months of only meats. So fish, chicken, beef, liver, which I didn't eat liver. I tried, but I need to figure out a way how to eat liver because I really want to eat it. It just, that aftertaste of the liver, I can't do it. It's so hard. I've even tried going out to eat liver and I can't do it. It's so, the taste is strong. It's real strong. If some of you like liver, please tell me how it is that you enjoy it, because it is very difficult for me to consume. It consisted of broths, a lot of soups, a lot of bone broth, eggs, and like starchy carbs. So like, for example, sweet potato, and just your healthy fats. So you can cook your stuff in olive oil.
And that's about it.
So when I heard that I had to be on a diet like this, I was like, what? So I couldn't eat any dairy, any grains. I couldn't eat any nuts. I also could not eat any processed health foods. So no more protein powder, no more protein bars, not even processed sauces. So that's another thing that I was doing. Since my meals were so bland and so plain, I would buy sugar-free sauces. I would drench my plate in these sauces. No artificial sweeteners, no stevia, no sugar-free maple syrup, no seed oils, so no canola oil, vegetable oil, which I already knew that. I never was consuming those things. But the problem with that is Those oils are secretly hidden in processed health foods. So if you look on the nutrition facts for maybe some protein bars or some of the protein stuff, they do have like some kind of a seed oil in them. So all of these things that he had me do were gonna significantly help me in being able to go to the bathroom on a daily basis. And the first week was tough because I was still trying to figure it out, and I wasn't able to use the restroom for like 3 days. But again, that was something that was very normal for me. And finally, once I was able to go, it became easier and easier, and I started to notice how just in diet, the effect that it already had on my gut. My period also came back, but I was still irregular with my period. So prior to going into my second consultation, he had me do a blood test about 2 weeks prior. So there were 2 things that stood out to him. My thyroid conversion was off. That was the first thing he noticed. And the second thing was my eosinophils were pretty elevated. And what does this mean? So they're white blood cells that when they're typically elevated, it's an indicator of certain people that have some kind of an intestinal infection, that they can have like a parasitic infection or a bacterial infection in their gut. So he basically concluded that I had leaky gut. What the heck is leaky gut? Because when I heard that, I had like a completely different picture in my mind. The gut has a barrier, it has a wall that is designed to keep certain toxins out, right? And certain things in. And when you have leaky gut, what ends up happening is those tight junctions of the wall, they end up opening up a little bit, and certain nutrients start to escape that barrier, and they leak out of your gut and into your bloodstream. And basically that causes an immune inflammatory response in your body. And that's why everything I was eating was making me feel super bloated, super inflamed, because my gut was not properly sealed. It had openings in it. So now that he was able to confirm what I actually had, since it was leaky gut, there were 4 things that he had me do. Number 1, I had to continue drinking bone broth. Why? Because bone broth helps to seal and heal the gut. So bone broth is rich in glycine, which is a protein that's really important in maintaining the gut lining. Number 2 was to continue my paleo style diet of eating. There was no end term. You basically just have to maintain the style of eating. You're prioritizing healthy fats and animal meats. He also recommended that I use a probiotic because that just helps the overall bacteria of the gut microbiome. And there were specific strains that he told me to use. So not all probiotics are made the same. Some can actually do more damage than good. So be careful when you're buying probiotics. The probiotic specifically that he told me to take was one that included L-plantarum. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. So I also started incorporating that in my diet. Also noticed big changes. The one I currently use, I'll put it up here. It's by the brand Garden of Eden, and it's a woman's probiotic. It has a few different ones in it, but L-plantarum is one of the main ones. And he basically told me I had to start taking this supplement, that it was composed of nutrients that were going to heal and seal my gut. And this supplement was called GI Revive. I'll put it up here and I'll link it for you guys so you can take a look at it. This also helped me tremendously on being able to help seal my gut. Now I can actually eat food. Now for my thyroid, which was another one of his concerns based off my blood test, basically there's a few things that you can do to support good thyroid health. And number 1 is having a paleo style diet, which I was already doing. Number 2 is to include carbs if your body tolerates it. So I'm able to do that now. It took me a while. I would like to say it took me about 6 to 7 months before I started slowly introducing carbs back into my diet. At first, I would have a little bit at a time, and maybe it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but over time, my body learned how to accept those things, and now I can tolerate carbs now. Number 3 is eating basically around a pound of fatty fish every week. And then there's to reduce stress, which I don't think I'm a very stressed out person right now, especially since I finished the school. And the last thing on that list is to not over exercise. Even though I was healing my gut and I was not having digestive issues anymore, I was still training very hard. I was still training very heavy. It wasn't until about 6 months ago where I decided to significantly reduce my training style. Why? Because even though I solved my gut issue, my insides still felt like they were on fire when I would leave the gym. I would still feel very inflamed in my intestinal uterus area, especially like after doing hip thrusts with like 3-4 plates on each side. I would leave the gym just with that area not feeling good at all. It was like very like out, like I couldn't suck in my stomach. I felt inflamed on the inside. And that's when it started to click to me like, well, maybe I am putting a lot of stress on my body because I'm training still so hard and I'm not giving my body a break. So I made the choice to significantly reduce my exercise, my cardio, and I knew I was gonna maybe put on some weight, but I was okay with that because I just wanted to see what would happen. I was like, I don't wanna feel this way anymore. And let me tell you that once I made the decision to do that, my period is now normal. My period, it was irregular and now it's normal. Now I get it at the same time when I'm supposed to get it. And I feel so much better. I feel like my hormones are now getting balanced because I don't have all that stress on my body from all the hard exercise I was doing. I'm giving myself enough recovery time. Just with how I feel overall, it has helped me so much. I don't feel inflamed anymore. When I'm done doing exercise, I still feel like I get in a very good workout. So 1 year later, what is it that I'm doing now? I'm still drinking bone broth every single day. I drink it first thing in the morning because I already think I had like healed the lining of my gut, but I want to continue supporting my gut barrier with bone broth. I still continue to use a probiotic daily. My diet is very high in animal meats. So I eat beef, I eat chicken, I eat fish, I eat all of that stuff every single day. Twice a day, I have it lunch and dinner. My diet is high in healthy fats, so I cook with a good amount of olive oil, a good amount of avocado oil. I eat eggs. I do not touch processed foods. If I do, it's very, very minimal, and it's made with very clean ingredients, but I typically do not eat any processed foods. All those protein supplements, pfft, girl, you already know how I feel about this, in the trash can. I strongly feel like all those protein supplements seriously led me towards having digestive issues and having leaky gut. So if you're somebody that's taking a lot of protein supplements, you should cut that out. It's not worth it, especially if you're somebody that's consuming those things on a daily basis like I was. 90% of the time, I'm eating whole foods. I was also able to reintroduce carbs back into my life. I was able to introduce oatmeal and white rice back in. And I was also able to reintroduce over time a lot of foods that I became intolerant to. So for example, avocados that my body could not handle. Now I can eat an avocado without a problem. I can have dairy with no problems whatsoever. I don't get bloated at all like what I used to. And again, with the exercise, I already told you guys, I significantly reduced my exercise, significantly reduced my cardio. I took everything back. I now prioritize my recovery time. So how is it that I feel now? Girl, I'm gonna tell you right now, I feel absolutely amazing. This is the best that I've ever felt in my life. And it's crazy because looking, like when I was doing my little research for this video and looking at all those pictures from myself from before, yes, I looked leaner and I feel like I looked better. Maybe I looked healthier because I was skinnier, but my God, I was not feeling that good on the inside. Compared to now where, yes, I've put on a little bit of weight, not feeling bloated. My insides don't feel like they're on fire. They don't feel inflamed. I feel like a normal person. And I feel like this whole experience has taught me to become very, very intuitive, and it's taught me to really listen to my body and pay attention, because your body is always going to show signs when there's something off. It's up to you to listen to it and to pay attention to it. So my body was showing me all the signs, but I was just putting it on the back burner, pretending like nothing was happening. When in reality, if you can't freaking go to the bathroom on a daily basis, that's a problem. If you're starting to get food intolerances, if your insides are starting to feel swollen and inflamed, losing your period, that's something that's super common that happens to a lot of women. But it's up to you to pay attention to those signs and to actually go and do something about it. I mean, I got my period and it's normal for once. It's not even irregular. Like, I get it on time and it feels amazing. I mean, Jesus Christ, like my chest now, like before I get my period, it's starting to hurt for the first time. And I'm almost 30 years old, which is so freaking cool. I'm like, wow, I feel like how I'm supposed to be feeling, like a woman. This is what it feels like. All I cared about was like building muscle, just being lean, toned, and muscular. And I think our bodies are naturally programmed to want to carry a little bit more fat on us. I mean, I now have a chest. I went from having absolutely nothing, and now I have a little something. You know, so I'm pretty happy about that. I feel like I look more feminine. I feel like I'm looking how I'm supposed to look like in my body.
Some things jiggle a little bit more, but
I feel so womanly. I feel so womanly and so feminine. And I love how my new body looks. And I just love even more how I feel inside. So I'm in a really, really good place right now. I want you guys to be in a place like that too, where you feel your absolute best and you're very happy with what it is that you see back in the mirror. So yeah, now that I know what it feels like to truly feel good, I'm never going back. I hope my video was able to help at least one person today. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. Try and pursue a healthier lifestyle. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I feel like there's still a lot that I wasn't able to cover, but I covered most of the main parts. I'm gonna go have some lunch now, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.
disco.
And I'm ready to get into my story. Wait, hold on. I don't even remember my story. Wait, hold on. Let me rewind and do this again. Sorry, babe, I'll call you back. I honestly thought I wasn't gonna be talking for more than like 30 minutes and it's been way longer than that.